Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Do me a favor, turn on your camera. Okay. Hello, welcome. So for those who do not take breaks, I purposely use that video as a way to kind of just plant some seeds a little bit. That was intentional. I would imagine some people will have some like feelings about that. Not to manipulate, but just to further understand about why we are here today. Okay, so a little change of dynamic, a little bit of focus. So first and foremost, I'm going to start off with the chat because people were mentioning it and we're talking through the chat. Yes, there was a lot of F-bombs. I forgot how much he curses. Oh my, I forgot. Whoops. But my role models, it's also like Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, and John Oliver. So I might have embodied some part of it, and I forgot about that. So a couple things I saw in the group chat, I want to make sure, right? Donna was like mentioning eldest daughter of Lao refugee and immigrant here. I'm the eldest son, Vietnamese refugee family. Steve mentioned echoes of the current anti-Asian hate incident media coverage. And it's crazy because the whole Vincent Chin thing was 1983. We're now 20 years, 40 years. Is that 40 years? Oh my, 40 years later almost. Right? And we're facing the same situation. I love my, I love like mixed martial arts fighting. I love some of the stuff that happens around that one. But Joe Rogan's is one of those folks who are in that circle. And I'm like, just rolling my eyes most of the time. I'm like, well, how do people listen to you, Joe? I don't understand. Marshall says the Clintock was a former congressman. They're former congressman. Yeah, I don't know if I should say I'm sorry or my condolences to you for the lack of, I don't know. All right, Marshall was just smiling, so that's a good joke. Okay, let's do some context a little bit, and then we're going to start figuring out why we're doing what we're doing. If that didn't like resonate with you in any way, then some part of me would say, question why you are here. I hope that you are here with us today is because you want to create greater equity for the Asian American community and its allies. We have a rich history of being allies with other people. We have a rich history of taking leadership, but for some reason we continuously are being pushed to this narrative that we're not leaders. And I think this is something where we change it. And I think this group has a lot of potential to change that because we're doing that right now. Whether it's the program leaders who are showing up and say, we want to bring interns in so they learn about public service, so that way they get the experience so that they can grow. Or it's maybe you who's the interns who are saying to themselves, yeah, I want to make my family happy. I need to make sure that they're taken care of. And then as we dive deeper and deeper, we start realizing sometimes happiness, when making my family happy, goes beyond to like just a simple paycheck, but speaking out for them. And so first and foremost, because I just like doing these visually, can have most of you all turn on your cameras for me, so I just do some like interaction with you all. I promise I won't like call you in. I'll just have the camera on, and because this is like a lot of hand raising for me, right? How many of you all had to translate or take care of some kind of like government public service document for your family? Raise your hand if you've done that. Okay. And then those who have the gallery review, take a look and pay attention to who's saying yes, right? They're raising their hands, right? I've seen a lot of those folks, right? Okay, and those people who are doing that, right? How many of y'all have thought to yourself, why is it so hard to do this? Why is it so hard to navigate this kind of like paperwork and translation, right? Why is it so hard for the program leaders, right? Those who might have kids, right? Why is it so hard, right, to like navigate this college as a education system so that my kids can have education, access to education, access to equity, access to like a better life? Those are systemic challenges. And when we don't put ourselves into that pipeline of leadership, then we don't have the voices. And then people who come after us will have the same question, why is it so hard? So we're in a very, I know I'm using this, I'm plugging in my name a little bit. We're in a very pivotal moment right now where we get to decide what we're going to do, right? I didn't mean to be a plug in that way. And that's why I chose pivotal moments as the firm, because how do we step in as leaders today? How do we start changing that, right? And I'm not asking you to like say, I'm a leader, I'm ready to go, but rather I'm a good human being who represent the Asian American community and the different parts of the Asian American community or the allies, and I'm ready to step up and make a change. Okay. Now, with that said, we're going to now shift into a little bit of what we're going to do today. So the first thing we're going to do is like start thinking about like creating a future that we want. And that's going to start with a little bit of leadership practice. And we're going to do that with our internship. Okay. So program leaders, I'm going to challenge you to think about like, you know, how else I can make this experience great for my interns and meeting yourself where you're at. Okay. Interns, a lot of times you're probably used to right now. In the past, I remember the story before. When you're in high school, one day you're asking for permission to use the restroom. One day after high school, you're now given the world and you're said, be an adult. Okay. So some of this is also going to guide you in terms of like, okay, how do I start creating how do I start building this muscle where I can start envisioning my life, what it looks like and how to move forward. Okay. With that said, I think you all should have been asked to download a handout. Write down, Ching, can you do me a favor, Ching? Since you have the link, can you copy the link into the group chat where they can download the handout? Okay. We're going to actually do some work together. And this is time for yourself to grow. One of the things I've seen when we do all these orientations in the past, people just say, here's information, you do this, you do this, you do this. There are some assumptions with this about this program. Your program leaders have some type of program for you already. Program leaders, you have some sort of plan. This work that we're doing is just taking that up to the next level by focusing what our vision is going to be like and what we're trying to do. Let's see here. And so we're going to start a little bit. All right, cool. So Ching posted the link to the handout. The cool thing is if you're on your computer, you can download the handout and you can type it into the fields. Okay. If you are an iPad person, okay, you can type it out too. If your life revolves around your phone, you can also type it into your phone. The idea is that I'm not going to present some new information to you. You can encourage you to think, but I'm also going to encourage you to take action because I said earlier, right? So the full quote is knowledge without any action is just potential action. Potential. It's knowledge by itself is just potential action. That's the right word. Okay. When you add knowledge and action, right? You make change. But when you have knowledge and you have intentional action, right? I think that's where your transformation comes into. And so that's what this next session is going to be about. Okay, I want to make sure I have my time. We're good here. We're good here. Good. Okay. So, does anyone here does not have access to the handout? Message me in the group, like just so we know, or message Ching or Donna, just let them know. Cocos says Cam. I don't understand what Cam means. Oh, cannot type. Oh, cannot type into it. Okay. One thing you can do then, if I think it might be an Apple thing too, because I was testing it on a Mac than a PC. But if you have a Mac, open the document with preview and not with your browser. So like I think that's the app. You should be able to type into it. Use the default system PDF file viewer to type. If you're opening out of a browser, it will not let you type. I don't believe so. And then Rebecca, it was funny. I remember Rebecca's name earlier because I saw a cat video for her profile. I'm out of town, I can't access. Okay, if you're out of town, you can't access, I'm gonna guide you through the process. If for some reason you are driving, right, just commit to yourself that you're gonna come back to this. Because this is really for you. And it's taking your leadership, your work, your contribution to the community to the next level. Okay, with that said, we're gonna start off now. Y'all do me a favor. I need you to raise your right hand for me. Okay, I'm not gonna make you say an oath or anything. This is not a naturalization ceremony. Lean to the right and just into your left and stretch. I need you to get your body moving. All right, same thing on the left. Make sure you get that going. We're gonna get our blood flowing. Oh, ow, I just cracked my knee. That was weird. Shake it off. So page 1. This is, you now have the video right? Understanding what is that you see that you may want to change. You had some like seeds planted. You have some inkling of what your internship program looks like. For the program leaders, right? You have a program already. We want you to start to envision what that future looks like for yourself now. So I'm going to throw this here on. For the first part of the worksheet, I want you to take some time and just write for yourself, right? This is some quality for yourself. I want you imagine yourself in 3 months. Wait, you all seeing my slide? Thumbs up. I just want to be sure. Thumbs up. Okay, good. How much more of your purpose has been defined because of the video, right? Because of these folks, right? For interns, sometimes the reason why I'm seeking like interns the way it is because I was this person before where I would just show up just because I just need to show up to make everyone happy. But when I just started discovering the different parts of my identity, it's just like, okay, this is what I want to do. By the way, if you don't identify as Asian American, Pacific Islander, speak from your perspective, okay? I don't want you to be like, who represent the African American community, Black community, Latinx community, Hispanic community, right? And be like, I'm going to be an advocate for Asian Americans because I'm in this space with a lot more Asian Americans. And no, I want you to come from your own perspective, okay? Because if you take care of yourself, other will benefit as well. So going to this question, how much more has your purpose been defined for you, right? So think about that, okay? What are you fighting for? What is your purpose in existing in the world today? What is that you wanted to achieve and accomplish? Okay, you see yourself, and write this, by the way, write about this as if you're there already. And some example could be also, my interns appreciates how much I've been there for them. We built a good relationship, and I know now that I've developed myself as a mentor so that I feel confident to lead these interns. And they're going to be reaching out to me in the future, and we're going to have this beautiful relationship because of this work that I've done. Right? My program is so much stronger. Okay, people are coming to me and asking, "What did you do? Your program has been successful." People in the community says, "Take my kids; they can benefit from being with you." Interns, students. Okay, how many people are you thinking about networking with? Right? How are you growing? Did you find courage to like pursue what you want? Okay, so take some time, write it out. I'm gonna throw on some music in the meantime as well. Okay, this is for you. And every once in a while, I'll throw in like a new question to help guide you. But these are the main guiding questions. All right, so let's take a little time right now. If you're on the keyboard, clickety clack, write it out there. Well, that sounds very eerie. I'm gonna switch that up. Much better. I can't emphasize this enough. When I say meet yourself where you're at, recognize the time commitment you have and responsibility you have maybe to other people, your family, parents, children, friends, and be honest. Remember, we're actually, I'll go back to it later. 3 months from now, what have you accomplished? Are you all working on projects that you want to share and just really excited about? Imagine ones I'd like to share that project you're about that may potentially save the world, save somebody's life. Oh, thinking about that. Like for example, I would have never imagined do a program to like send air conditioners, AC's units to people's houses. Right? No idea is dumb. Okay, no project idea is dumb. Maybe it's like you have a project that you're very proud of to explore. Ooh. So I'm not gonna say anything about this person, but this person messaged me. Love what the person wrote. Yes. Oh, okay. I don't want to share this because this person. Okay, the person who shared something with me. I'm not gonna say anything what they wrote, right? But they're working with their own internal struggle of what it means to be in this space, right? Especially with a different ethnic background. Okay, that's powerful to look at and spend time and say, what have I accomplished with the identity? A good example, what I envision for Pivotal and my work as Pivotal, right? Being the Asian American male, especially the Vietnamese American, I inspire people. People are going to come to me inspired to take authentic action, inspired action to make their world better. They have the confidence and courage to show up in their internship. And when there's corruption, they are confident to talk to their program leaders. Program leaders are confident that they know to adapt, to be great mentors. Because I encourage them and reminded them that their worth is very powerful and that they can, with their own wisdom, lead others to a better place. So the person who messaged me, thank you for that. Okay. Think about the networks of people you meet, colleagues, friends, people in this group. Oh, another way to think about it is when you think about what you've accomplished, think about the people who showed up in your life. Those are the type of people that you want, right? Oh, my favorite one. And I'm gonna do a shout out to this. Last year, or no, 2 years ago, I started feeling a desire to do something bigger. So I was working for the Asian Pacific American Leadership Institute for some time. I knew that I wanted to do training for our Asian American community, but also with allies, right? To really incorporate this full identity and to really expand it, right? And I was focused in the Silicon Valley Bay Area. And so I remember telling myself, I envision that, I see that I'm going to be someone who's going to try to serve the national level and then international level. That'd be really great. I need a mentor, someone powerful, someone who's not afraid to call out people's BS. I went to this conference that was sponsored with a very similar group of people, sat at this table, and we had a really good discussion. At the end of this conference, right, it was 2 days later, she walked into me and she was like, Anthony, normally I don't do this because my mentees are usually young women who are in civic spaces, but you're gonna be my mentee now. So every time I see Christine Chin Ryan now, I was like, oh, she chose me as a mentee. But she has continuously, just being in her presence reminded me, is wow, I could do so much, I could serve so much, right? And now I have a chance to be able to serve folks in Oakland, okay? And so that's an example right there, right? I don't know who that person looked like, but just knowing that I need someone who is strong, who will inspire me. So I need people who can actually help me expand what my vision could be like, right? So that's what I mean by how has your network and support group has grown? How big is your LinkedIn network, right? Things like that. Okay. All right. All right. Pencils down, keyboard down, shake your hand, shake it off. Right. This is the listening portion now. Okay. Actually, not the listening. I want to open this floor up a little bit. Do the raising hand thing if you want to talk. I would love to hear what are some things that came up. Let's have someone who's a program leader and one who is a current intern. Can I have those volunteers? Anyone? And I'm gonna say no Steve and no Vivian since they've had time to talk. Sorry, Steve and Vivian. Oh, by the way, this is what I want the screen on too. Oh, Salma. I hope I said your name correctly, but talk to us. What came up for you?
Oh.
Wait, flash you. Did we just mute you? Hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait, try that again.
Oh no, my Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Hello?
there. Yes, we can hear you now.
I think I'm glitching. But I guess, in terms of like vision and like seeing into the future and imagining, how my purpose has been like more so defined and, just kind of. I just want to clarify. Can you guys hear me because my screen is frozen right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. But with all the work that we're doing, that I've been doing, just kind of imagining that, and especially through this program, just kind of feeling like all my goals and visions and passions will just kind of be thriving. It's been a really rough year for a lot of people, and just kind of feeling like, um, like kind of narrow down on like what I really want to work on, and just kind of imagining like things will be a lot easier, and just like my passions, and like I feel like so many other people as well, just like feeling they're like rejuvenating all the beliefs and all the passions that we have, just kind of you know thriving, I hope.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sama. I hope I said that correctly. So that's a very good one. And actually, you all have a unique sense of challenge because because we're leaving the pandemic, a lot of you all will have a lot of energy and a lot of like different things that's going to pull you to a different direction. So my offering is also like, yes, recognize like you want to thrive. See how you use that energy for like in your work as well, but also don't be afraid to narrow it down because there's plenty of time and opportunity for the things that are most important to you. So thank you for sharing. Amanda, I see your hand raised. Talk to us. Oh, right. Gotta unmute you. Try that now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be starting college in this fall after this summer. So I think beyond just this internship, which where I hope to just gain experience in political science and kind of get a head start on understanding political science, which is what I'm planning to major in, and just being more confident as a person, feeling like I am more capable after coming out of this internship. That's really what I'm searching for. I'm really searching for this sort of personal growth and kind of feeling secure after, despite going into a new chapter of my life, despite going into college and sort of starting anew as a new person. And yeah, so that's what I'm really excited about for this program, is that even if it's like, even if I never end up working with specific legislation, I will still be working in a government office and I'll still be able to learn how the government offices work. And that way I can really just expand my horizons and become a more experienced and um, confident person.
Love it. Love it. Right. And that makes sense. And I think a lot of you are, especially like younger interns, right? You're like, no, that's what I want right now. That's where I want to grow, right? Perfect. Take the time for that, right? And grow some experience. I want to get one more. I would love to hear more on the program leader side. And I hope some of these program leaders would be interested in speaking up because they could set a good foundation and role modeling for all of us as well. So role models, anybody? Amy. All right, let me unmute you. Go for it.
Well, my hope after 3 months is to strengthen the networks, and between the intern alumni and the community, just building that support group, not just for the duration of the internship, but beyond that, because and building that community.
I love that because you're thinking not just the current like 2, 3 months, 4 months, right? I know some of y'all have a longer internship plan too, but thinking about the future afterwards, and that work is going to be done in the next couple of months so that there's future network. If you're a program leader, I think that's really cool. I think you might want to hit up with Amy in the future, but like, hey, let's brainstorm how we can make this happen. I know Ching has talked about that in the past about how do we encourage more support. And it's not like I'm trying to say that right now as a way to plug in for a special announcement at the end. Not at all, maybe. All right, so next part. I want to introduce you all to something I use a lot of times. Yes, this a white man did present this. I know there's this vibe a lot of time about this white man stuff, right? But there are really valuable tools, right? I love this cool tool. It's called the RPM. And I wanted to say this because it's like the tools you have is available anywhere you go, right? It's how you use it. But I want to introduce this to everybody. I've used this a lot of times. When I was doing a high school church group years ago, and we were doing a socks drive for the homeless, right? And we're a small group in San Jose, and we were going to go up to San Francisco, the Tenderloin, to pass out socks and goodies. Previous years, like before I inherited this program, there was like, oh, we're going to raise just $200. I'm like, okay. And then one day I go, let's change that. Let's do 2,000. And everyone's face is like, what? How are we going to do that, right? And everyone's freaking out. And back of my head goes, Anthony, why would you do that? Why? Okay, because here's a secret to this. If you don't have a good enough reason why, you're just gonna be like freaked out more about how you're gonna get it done. So I like this tool because what we start doing is that instead of going to the results, we start thinking about what is the purpose of us doing this. In the past, we're like, oh, we want to serve the homeless because that's what Christians do, right? Serve homeless, right? I'm like, okay, but no, seriously, why? What is that you really want? Well, I guess I want to show people that I love them. Okay, tell me more. I think my purpose is to make sure that no one is left alone, that they're not, that if they're on the marginalized, that they're not forgotten, and that there are support, and to remind people that they're human beings. Ooh, when that student said that, guess what happened? Does it make sense to just go for $200 now? No, they want the full 2,000. They clear that within a week, reaching out to their community, right? And they were like, we have so much money now that we can't transport these boxes to San Francisco. We actually had people to help us drive and drop off at the homeless shelters because that was our purpose. Now, the next part to it, and it's funny because I did this reverse on purpose, is because the results, what do they want the results? They want people to feel good. They want people to feel that they're human beings. They want to pass out a amount of socks. And that's all they need to do, okay? How does it apply to us? We're going to start with your spreadsheet, your little handout, right? And we're going to start in the middle with purpose because we want to start with purpose. And the reason why it's in the middle is because it's at the center of what we do. So our goals in this case, the RPM, is what is our purpose-centered action plan? And so as interns, right, what is your purpose? And I'm going to start thinking about that, right? What is your why? Some of y'all would say, you know, I just want to get some experience so I get some on a resume. Great. But I'm also going to challenge you, bring it up a little higher so that other folks in my community will never have to worry about not having a voice because I want to be that voice for other people. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's a language you want to borrow from me. Go for it. Okay. Program leaders. I think Amy has a good reason why. Okay. The results of it came out from that. But I'm guessing Amy's reason, right, is that so that there's support and networking and for the future, something sustainable after Amy's time. I'm only guessing, but that might be the case. So for this part, I want you to spend some time, just the purpose only, just the purpose only. Do not be an overachiever. Do not try to prove to yourself or other people that you know this stuff. This is time for yourself to be yourself, right? In this world, it's not like Silicon Valley where your worth is based on what you produce and how much money you make. Your worth is just being who you are and just being present. So for purpose, write down your why. Draft it, write it down so many times. Have fun with it. Write it down. What is your why? Okay, write it down. I'm gonna give you about this much time to write it up. What is your why? What is your purpose as an intern? What is your purpose as a program leader? Oh, that's like funny. I did this with Donna this past week, but I'm gonna tell her to do it again. Donna, go back to your RPM. Have fun with it. You can do that too. I see Ching working, and I'm assuming she's working on the spreadsheet too, right? Or her little worksheet too. Ching, I'm gonna encourage you to do as well. Yeah, I'm calling everyone out. Okay. What is your why? What is the purpose? And it doesn't have to be a life purpose because a lot of purpose does change throughout our life. I'm just talking about in this space and time now as part of the internship, public servant internship program. I want to do a little guiding more, right, for the person who messaged me earlier. Okay. Maybe it's dismantling the system that you grew up in that have boxed you in, so that way you can step out of that box now and show your full self and the amazing self you are to serve the world. Okay. An example for me was that one of my purpose why was helping people dismantle the model minority myth, right? Not because it's stressful, not because it puts us in this weird like box, because at the end of this day, right, I want to be also a role model so that we learn how to navigate freely to desire to do what we're meant to do in this world. A lot of my work right now is based off of inspiring people to come from inspire action so that people can be free and bringing more equity. So free that they'll never have to worry about a loved one being killed, right? Bring free so that you would not have to worry where's your next meal coming in from. My family was refugees for a long time. Well, actually, my family was a refugee family, but for the longest time, we struggled on food stamps. That's all we had. Okay. And one day, the government says no more food stamps for these like refugee families. Imagine the stress, the anxiety, the pain that my parents had to go through because they're disabled. They can't work. They can't speak English, right? And so those restrictions stop them from being free, and they have to be living in stress and anxiety, right? Imagine that with the trauma and the stress, right? That's just not how I want people to live. So because of that, my purpose now is to help people find ways so that they can thrive in life. Oh, ooh. Salma, ooh. Okay, so they'll message me directly and sharing their whys and purpose. Can I ask you to step into those places of courage and share that with everybody? I got chills reading this, and I hope you folks consider sharing that, because that's like, wow. Okay. Yes, one person agreed to share. Hopefully y'all can copy and paste it out. Okay. What is your purpose? All right. Relax, pencil down, take a deep breath. Okay. Can I have, oh, Savannah. Yes. All right. Yes. Savannah says, my purpose, I feel to bring comfort to those who are struggling and hope to help provide some forms of help, even as a single person. You'd be surprised how much one action from one person can do in your work. Sometimes it's as simple as a tweet or a TikTok video. Sometimes it's like a one writing, or sometimes just talking to somebody. My purpose, learning to be positive and active, contribute to my community and society, to do work that makes me feel good and has a positive impact. Great. Gladys is perfect, because you know what happened, Gladys? That is going to guide you to the results you want to accomplish in the work you're doing. Okay, because we just now have this energy and this excitement, and we're like, you know, the pandemic is over. This is going to help us focus, right? And this is for everybody. Let's see here. A person messaged directly. I'm not going to say the person since the message directly. I want to honor that. My purpose as an intern is to build my arsenal of skills for civic participation. I want to feel more confident in my ability to get involved in political community. By the way, program leaders, this is what they're asking of you. You know they're there because they want to work with you because of this. Specifically, I can be and feel more qualified when I stand up for equal rights for minorities, and even in just regular conversation with my peers. Ooh, I love Oh, I love this. Catherine is saying, I'm getting my MA in clinical psychology. I would like to remove the stigma from Asians and Asian Americans seeking mental health services since they are the least likely of all marginalized groups to get help for psychological issues. Okay, the video that I was playing for the John Oliver, I think the second part was that the suicide rates is twice in certain communities, Southeast Asian community, right? But we don't know that because we don't have disaggregated data, or we just try to lump everybody's in a monolithic idea of what Asian Americans is. And by the way, I'm not even like my natural inclination is talking about Asian Americans, right? But like if you're white, you're Latinx, Hispanic, Chicano, Chicanx, probably the better way, Black, step into those purpose. Ooh, Anthony, I'm going to challenge you this one because you share the same awesome name I have. My other purpose, to be an Asian American who goes into something other than purely mathematics. I like math, but we got to show ourselves elsewhere. I'm going to challenge you, say how much of that is actually your own work to show yourself and be proud of who you are. Because that was me. I talk about serving other people, but in reality, I was working on my own, trying to be proud of who I am and accept who I am. So you might see a little bit of that work being done. All right, sweet. If you're getting chills or you're appreciating this, like do a hard thumbs up +1. We're gonna go to our next one now. Results. Okay. Results are interesting because I wanted to be specific a little bit. And so this is now more time for you to focus on. Interns, you may have projects already. And so you may want to define that project, what that looks like. I want to do a project that really has tangible action items for the community, whether it's through education or a social media post or a social media platform. I think one, not our students, but in this network, Dear Asian Youth, right? And I think Civic Youth was like two things in this group that showed up, and those were projects that expanded massively. Okay. So it could be, I want to do this project where I can fully learn and grow, right? And use this as a stepping stone for me to start my political career. Some of y'all may end up in private sectors, right? I want to use this project so that I can use this when I go to Google or Facebook and join their employee resource groups, diversity, equity, inclusion, and bring the civic education, the knowledge, so that these corporate governments, these corporate entities can actually be responsible now. Okay. I want my government liaison for these companies. Okay. So those are more down the line, but let's focus on this one in terms of projects. Okay. I jump ahead sometimes, my bad. So interns, maybe the project is, I want to practice my public speaking skill. I want to be able to speak in front of other people and share my experience and know that my story is still meaningful and worthwhile. I would not downplay my story. So maybe the result is, I will share my story because I believe it's worthwhile. Program leaders. I think Amy did a really good one. I'm not going to even add on to that one. Amy was really good, right? Setting up a network, right, for intern and alumni to participate and communicate with each other. I know one of the things that Jane has talked about when we talk about these training meetings is that she wants to create support for program leaders continuously throughout the year so that you all feel supported, that you all have a network so that you're all growing together. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Anthony, I like how you started. I do wish to belong in this country through integrating myself with the wider society for its betterment, and at the same time, I like to see a much more modernized America in all ways. Anthony, who gave you the idea that you don't belong here? And that's a question that I want you all to think about too. Who gave us the idea that we don't belong here? Because we belong. All right, so results, write down your results. What do you want to accomplish? What is the specific results, right? And specific meaning like something making people feel good. It's nice. That could be a purpose. Specifically is, I want to make sure that when I show up as an intern, as maybe handling the phone calls in my office, people feel that they're being guided and supported and know that they have a place to belong to. That could be results. And that could be an interaction that you do in phone calls. I want people to feel good, right? When I'm getting coffee for maybe my boss, I'm sorry, I'm using like intern trope, right? But like if I'm getting coffee and doing office work, I'm putting my effort and energy into this because I know their work is important and I'm supporting them. Oh, I love Anthony's comment. This is what we're changing. Seeing too few Asians in government. I say we focus too much on not on the scarcity and we don't focus enough on the people who are in government. Grace Meng, New York. Kamala Harris, VP. Okay, Evan Lowe, California State Assembly. Okay, 3 right off the bat. And it's funny because I used to do the exact same thing. There's not enough Asian Americans in office. I just totally disregarded everybody who's actually made effort. Norman Netta, right? Maybe we need to start shifting our mindset of saying what we have succeeded so far and how, and then remember that we're still just starting. Ooh, I like this person because the person messaged directly. I won't say I love this, but I will say building communications network among high school students in the local community that provides both personal support and a vehicle for social change. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. We're going to pause there for a second before we move on to the bigger piece of this. Anyone like to share what they wrote so far about their purpose and results? I asked that, but I should probably just get practice just like pointing out people. Like Marshall. Would you be down to share? All right, I'm gonna unmute you.
All right, so for the purpose of my internship, I want to learn more about the issues that are affecting Asian American communities in California, and taking it a step further, I want to contribute to pushing through a policy agenda that not only sees but supports not only Asian Americans in California, but all Californians as a whole. And in terms of my result, it was results, right?
Yes. What do you want to see specifically with your results?
And for my results, since just for context, I'm going to be interning with the California API Legislative Caucus, I want to help them push through their policy agenda that makes very explicit, specific demands and priorities and goals for specific bills that are targeted towards helping specific issues within the API community, both in California as a whole and in specific parts of California. And I want to do that hopefully by reading up on more California legislation as it relates to policy issues that affect Asian Americans, as well as just something more personally. I want to be able to network with more people within the California capital, because I guess it's not as big of a place as it seems, and everyone seems to know each other. So I want to meet more people, grab some coffee with more people, and get to know them.
Yes, absolutely yes. By the way, one of the things I've learned early on, you don't know everything. So don't be afraid to like just reach out there and just be like, hey, can I have some coffee with you? I mean, that's how I met Christine, right? I went up there and I was like, hey, I oh my goodness, you're amazing. I want to learn more. Like, wow, you're able to balance like running a business and also like civic engagement. That's what I aspire to do. Can you talk to me more? Right. So yes. Fiona wrote something really interesting to me, and I'm going to use if Fiona says she's down to share and talk. So Fiona, go ahead.
Hi, so yeah, it was a response to an earlier question of why we are may felt like we don't belong here. And so I've always kind of struggled with this through high school, and then also through college. I've kind of had a chance to think about it through some of like writing projects that I've done. So I speak more from the stance of a second generation immigrant where my parents were refugees from the Vietnam War, and I was born and raised here, but there was obviously like a clash in between those two cultures where I was home and I was being raised in a Chinese Vietnamese household, whereas when I went outside at school or anything like media representation, all I saw was the American social standards and the norms of what is normal in America. But when I came home and I tried to share those things, it's kind of like those two cultures always clash. So I never really felt like I belonged in America, but I also never really felt like I belonged as a Chinese American either. So there's like this conflict in between these two identities that really make me feel like I wouldn't be welcomed in America, but also if I were to go back to my parents' home country, I probably wouldn't be really welcomed there too. I guess this can kind of also tie into some of like the results. I don't have a particular project that I'm working on yet, but if it were in something relation to this, I'm sure there are like resources or ways that we could present Asian diversity in America to make people feel a little bit more welcome. I mean, this is something that I'm sure a lot of second generation immigrants, even first generation immigrants feel in this country. And that's really shouldn't be happening because people should feel like they belong.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And the reason why I want to bring that up was that because, and then I want to also bring up Nancy, she mentioned this. If I can be frank, why be frank? Be Nancy. But if I can be frank, white supremacy, the idea that the norm is culture and beliefs of white people is the reason why I don't feel like I belong. That is actually prevalent, like throughout the parts of where we're at, right? Education, government, and definitely the feeling of not belonging. So maybe something that we all can do, right, as a group, right? Our mission is like, how do we encourage others to belong? So not focusing on the feeling that people are trying to make us feel like, not the people, but like the system and the people acting out the system, making us feel like we don't belong, but using our place and be able to be a representation for other people to show that we belong. Okay. I think the first level is like exposure, right? And just, see like, oh, look, there's an Asian face in like the legislative branch. There's an Asian face here. There's an Asian face here. The next step then, right, is like creating a space in terms of voices and moving on. And like Fiona, what you mentioned, right? You're not the only one who feels that way because I feel that way. I work in the Vietnamese American community. A lot of people feel that way too, right? How do we create space so we all can come together? And so that might be the purpose of what we're doing. So just by showing up, right, and say, maybe I am scared of doing public speaking, but I'm going to make sure that whenever my elected official, my public person I'm serving is out there, I'm going to make sure I stand next to him and get a picture every single time when the news media sees me, right? And then one person can be like, I want to be like that Asian person who just somehow shows up on camera all the time. What does this person do, right? Maybe that's what you got to do at the very beginning piece, right? And we're talking about the very beginning. Whereas in someone like me more, right, is I'm gonna make sure I show up for these city council meetings and city council meetings and county member meetings and be like, hey, the thing you said the other day was racist. You need to change that. And that might be for me. Okay. Steve mentioned something really cool, right? If you want to do a little more exploration about this, the PBS special Asian Americans video series, really, really good. Oh, yes. I like the spoiler. The Asian American experience is an American experience. Okay. With that said, the last part of this activity is, and here's a fun part, right? You write down everything, the massive action plan. You write down everything that you need to do to make your results and purpose come to life, right? And there's a little logic to the madness, right? You're gonna write this down, write it like crazy, just write down, like just be right with thing, right? Getting coffee, making sure I meditate every morning. I gotta exercise. I gotta make sure I connect with my people. I'm gonna create a Facebook group. I'm gonna create something on Instagram. I'm gonna post every single day. Whatever that thing is, do that, right? I'm gonna make sure that I am talking to my person once a week, right? My mentor leader who's supposed to support me, I'm gonna hold the person accountable. And the crazy thing about this is write it all down. Give yourself maybe like a minute or two, write it all down. Go back to the one or two items that will create momentum right away. Circle that. And that's going to be your action plan moving forward for this next 2, 3 months, 4 months. Because you're now backed by your purpose, you know the results you want, and now you have a couple action plans. So sometime now, whoa. I know a good song for this. Let's see if I can find this one. Never mind, I can't find it. But for yourself, write it down right now, right? With the quickness, write down, don't limit on what you can or cannot do. Write down everything you think of right now. Brainstorm it, brainstorm it, everything you need to do, okay? Write it down with the quickness. Go, 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 go. And I want to make sure that I acknowledge in the chats, right? It's yeah. We're gonna the thing that's gonna bring us. Oh, there we go. The thing that society is gonna do is to remind us that we don't belong, or gonna try to convince us that. But if you go back to your purpose again, you realize what's stronger: someone's projection of it onto us, or your purpose that what you're meant to do, what you're meant to be. And I hope you choose your own purpose into creating this better, beautiful world. Right? These are just challenges that we step over, and we may not step over in our lifetime, but at least we're going to create the pathway because the people who come after us will step over that. That is my belief. And don't forget to drink your water. If you haven't started serving some of your items yet, go ahead and use this time to circle some of the items that you would like to start taking on. Okay, something that can be done really quickly, something to help you build momentum. It could be as simple as I'm going to email this person and have a coffee with them. I'm gonna message Anthony and share a really funny video clip that was by John Oliver, and like hopefully he'll listen to me, pay attention to me, and mentor me in the future. Sure. By the way, the last mentee who asked me to be a mentor, she used a Hello Kitty card and puns. There was no way I could say no to that. Ooh, okay. So the theme of parents, intergenerational like relationship is showing up on my feed. Maybe one of those things you could take a look at it is setting healthy boundaries between your parents' cultural values and your Asian American values. Another thing that it might be useful is explore how do those interactions play out. Okay. Talk to maybe seek out a mentor who's experienced this already. That might be part of the journey. So it's not always about like you have to produce something, you have to connect with something. Sometimes it could be just the action item could be just more about like, what can I do to create some space for healing? What I could do is to create some space to recognize some of the stories I tell myself and then dismantle some of those stories. Ooh, and now we're moving to self-care. Self-care can be part of that. Setting a routine. Maybe it's bowling. I'm only saying bowling because I just started bowling this past week. Yoga, meditation. Maybe setting some movie nights for yourselves with other people. You could just have good community care. Okay. Circle the ones that matters to you. Okay. And then, knee. If you good, shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. Like just massage your shoulders if you need to. All right. I am being compelled to call on Rahib for some reason. Rahib, would you mind, one, correcting your pronunciation because I think I butchered it, but two, would you like to share a little bit what came up for you in this experience? You don't have to share what you wrote, but just what came up for you. You down? All right. I am going to unmute you because I think you have a look in your eyes that says, I'm down.
So some of the things that came up were like hosting listening sessions with people that I want to work with, and also like creating safe spaces, hosting casual events where you can connect with people on personal levels and build these friendships, and also outlining like key values and goals that can unite people and bring their efforts together for like
Okay.
common goals.
Awesome. Oh, and this is perfect. Actually, I'll go back to this later. And Jeanette, would you be down to share what you guys came up with? Oh, let me unmute you. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Anne Jeanette. Thank you so much for the space. I'm a current graduate student getting my master's in environmental management, and I've seen this correlation between environmental issues are social issues, and I'm just trying to reconnect to my heritage to amplify the voices that have experienced the same journey as me, being a Filipino American. As you can tell, that I don't look like my heritage, and that's one of my biggest struggles being a Filipino American. But
Wait, hold on. I think we just lost you.
can you hear me now?
I'm gonna, yeah, there we go.
Okay. What was the last thing that I was able to say?
Filipino heritage, that was difficult. And then that's all I remember last.
Okay, so yeah, so one of my purposes for this internship is to provide and to gain skills to create safe spaces for young Filipino women, especially in policies that displace them, in particular women in agriculture. And so one of my action plans is to kind of be sane in my own head, to understand that this is a process and that things can't change right away, and to be okay with that, that the process is part of the journey. And so, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And so something came up, I remember this too, right? Is the things you wrote. I'm gonna ask you one question. I think it'd be really cool. You write this question down. This is something you add on to it. Whose permission do you need to make this happen? And the reason why I'm asking this, because, and this is for everybody, right? Because what I've learned about being an Asian American is that we have to practice asking permission. I'm gonna help you all with this one and say, the only permission I need to make when I live my purpose is my own permission. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is separate from like systemic issue that shows up, right? But you have permission to act out and live out your purpose. Exploring your identity, reaching out to people, creating spaces for others, okay? Process is part of the journey, dropping gems. I'll say that, yes. Okay, so the last 5 minutes, the last page. In my work in doing leadership, I've seen self-care come up a lot, compassion come up a lot, support. And so this is more for yourself to take some time to do. And we'll spend like about 5 minutes at most, and then we're gonna transition to a close. But the idea, what I wanted for the most part, is that for you to start looking at like, what is your purpose and what results you want to create for yourself, and the action plan you can start moving forward with. But the last page of the handout, when you're faced with challenges, right? Like, I want you to start thinking about things that you can find ways to support. Dylan mentioned this earlier. When he was doing an internship, he didn't know who to go to, right? Or he didn't have access to his leaders, but he had access to his friends, to like a sounding board. So program leaders, right? Are there people, colleagues, people in your network you could reach out to, right? In some of your various challenges, whether it's more deeper or personal or professional, right? Write it out. Interns, where do you go to, right? Who do you go to, right? And so I separate in 3 parts. One is with yourself, right? What are some things you can do for yourself, whether it's journaling, just like retreating, self-care. This is the other one I hear a lot about, getting in touch with your intuition. And for me, that like it's meditation, mindfulness is the beginning part. The other one is like trusting and giving yourself permission to feel your emotion, trusting and give yourself permission to be who you are. That helps build intuition. With people, who are your support network? Who can you talk to and vent? Who can you like help you process? Write it down for yourself. And this is my favorite one: structure and certainty. How to create safety. Okay. Do you need to set a schedule and revise the schedule over and over again until you find the right schedule? That's me. I do that a lot. Establishing rules and boundaries. So earlier we talked about family, right? And so that may be part of your action item, right? It's like setting the boundaries, healthy boundaries, and knowing what are your family's sort of rules and models and what are yours, and be able to distinguish those two. Or maybe just like distinguishing like what are the responsibilities that people have in your life or affect they have in your life, and be able to say yes or no to that more. Okay. Give yourself a little time, write it down. Now, what does this have to do moving forward? 1, permission. 2, visioning. 3, we have a safety plan to help you in your journey. Yeah, but I mean, that's really it. Because a lot of times we go to the leadership things and we're like, yes, we're ready, we jump in. And then you hit a roadblock or something happens, like white supremacy. All right. Having someone to go to dismantle white supremacy that's happening in your life is so healthy. Oops. I want to make sure there's something. Oh. Just jump on the slides ahead. Actually, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. When Asian Americans were attacked, I recognized that my church community was not the best place for me. My group of friends from the church wasn't the best place for me. But my route of safety, I realized, was there are a certain group of friends I met in my past 2-3 years in the space. I reached out to them, and that was my go-to people. So these are now my go-to people when it comes to like self-care and social justice. The structure and certainty, I've acknowledged it. I was like, hey, you know, my friends are like, hey, for those who are just not sure what they're just not down for the cause, right? I just say, hey, when there's a party, let's go hang out, right? Maybe when the pandemic's over. And I just keep it respectful, right? That's gonna happen. My family, I do the same thing. But the other part, right, is like I allocate blocks on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day to connect with people who truly nourishes me. And that's put into my calendar as well. Okay. So those are some examples for support structure. Sama, I see your hand up. Oh, dang it. Unmute. Okay, go for it. Talk to me.
Oh, oops. Yeah, devices.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to do a quick wrap up. Then we're going to hand on to the next portion. How was the experience for you all? Let me know in the chat if you want to talk, raise your hand. And then I'm going to encourage those who's, I'm going to call him Gladys because I've seen Gladys wrote in the text chat, but the camera's off. Gladys, will you be down in the chair a little bit? I just lost Gladys. Okay, we're going to go to Gladys first, then we're going to jump back to Sama. I can't find Gladys on this anymore. Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Gladys, go for it.
And this is this with structure and certainty, or which one?
No, just the whole process. How was this experience for you?
Oh, this like program experience?
The past hour that you've worked with me on the whole RPM and how was that experience for you?
I feel like I was getting more in touch with myself and also hearing experiences and other perspectives from other people. It was super informative on like personally for me, but also seeing things through other people's views and eyes as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Salma? Oh, let me unmute you.
You guys hear me now?
Yes.
Great. I guess for me, I just kind of wanted to add to the previous points that I made in
Oh, hold on, pause. We lost you again. Okay, try it now, talk. Let's try it one more time. Okay, is it working now? Is anyone, I'm having trouble hearing Salma still. Anybody else having trouble? Okay, so it's not just me. Okay. Salma, would you be down to type it out? I apologize. Wait, talk. Okay, no. Sorry, Zoom. All right. Okay, so we'll let Salma talk, but I do want to start shifting our attention a little bit. This is just the beginning. This is just to help you focus. I did a video on Facebook the other day about like how I reduce burnout, and this is actually what helps me reduce burnout. When you are thick in the weeds and you're just like all over the place, it's always good to go back to a purpose, and that's the idea. I'm also hoping that this is also a community that you can go back to as well, and that's the intention, because I'm gonna go back to this now. This is just the beginning. This is the community for you, and I'm gonna jump into special announcements. So Jing, be ready for your part, because I'm gonna talk about the special announcement.
Okay.
Say the date, and why I'm tying it is because for program leaders, we're creating something brand new. In the past, we do webinars we've done where everyone can come in with best practices, but the assumption is that we're the experts. In reality, you're the local experts, you know your stuff, you're heads down. And so we're creating a community coaching programs for the program leaders. And there are 3-hour sessions, same time frame, 9 to 12 on Saturdays, June 26th, June 17th. And it's a whole entire leadership coaching curriculum. Well, it gives you a chance to do a little bit of leadership work with learning a little from me and Donna, but also you get to practice leadership work, coaching each other, working through your own specific challenge and get some ideas. And so when you're done with that, you know the specific action you got to take. If it's like not clear in action, then you know the next question to ask so that you can take some action moving forward. So definitely for program leaders, June 26th, June 17th, definitely save that. I'll be leading that. And then project consulting. So this is for the students. And Jing's gonna talk a little bit more about this. So students, interns, pay attention. We are gonna hold a project consulting day where you can talk about your projects, how to work it, how to present it, and think through your projects, okay? So for sometimes, like some people might say, I want to do a project around homelessness in the Asian American community. Okay, cool. What do you got next? I want to raise money. Okay, what do you got next, right? And you might be able to frame it and say, okay, what is your purpose statement? What is that you're trying to accomplish, right? What are some of the plans and process, right? And help with the projects. And then come back and say, also report back, what is that you've achieved and what is your learning process so you can move forward for the next project, right? And so we'll provide project consulting for that for the interns. So there's 3 events already right off the bat that's going to help support you. The cool thing is that June 26th, June 17th, that's for program leaders. That is the special announcement I was trying to lead into earlier. That's one of the few chances we get to connect fully on that level to support each other, to coach each other, to be leaders for each other. So not just a webinar where you show up and you're doing text like this, right? Which is like our process today, but to able to interact with each other. And the cool thing is it's national level. So make sure you book those times, June 26th, July 17th. And then students, same thing, right? Book this time, July 31st, for project consulting. And the reason why I'm putting a big emphasis on this idea of project consulting is because I'm going to hand this off to Ching now, who's going to talk about our fall award showcase. Ching?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this orientation is so inspirational, and thank you, Anthony and Donna, and thank you for all the program leaders and students. And then at the end, I'm so happy to announce that for the first year, we will host an online Young Leaders Civic Engagement Showcase and award ceremony on October 23rd. Please mark your calendar. This event will not only include all our grantee organizations and students, but also open to public. We'll have 2 categories of awards. One is to acknowledge outstanding public service interns from our grantee organizations. So this is only for our grantee organizations. And the other category of awards is to acknowledge civic engagement projects by young leaders. And this is not limited to only our grantee organizations, but open to public. We are planning to provide money awards and the certificates to the winners and invite some of the winners to present and showcase their work. We will interview all the winners and post on our social media to promote them with their consent. This event is to, acknowledge the contributions our young leaders made, and to inspire and connect people in civic engagement. So please, again, mark your calendar for this showcase and award ceremony on October 23rd, and get excited. We will give detailed information, including requirement, award criteria, and timeline by the first week of July. Please stay tuned with us. I think this will wrap up for this orientation today. Anthony, do you have anything else you want to add to?
I want to follow if Salma wants to try again with her audio, because I haven't seen it in the chat yet. Just in case, because yeah, let's try it one more time. And then we'll do official closing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. I really, I just wanted to say that, like, for the previous points, that especially people that are like really in the realm of social justice, just trying to find a way to like really, ground yourself and kind of protect your energy when it comes to, it gets really tiring. It's really trying to dedicate yourself to making a real change that's been so rooted in our system for so long. It's just, it gets really tiring, and just taking the time sometimes to take a break from this space is really important, and to, like with purpose, and just kind of finding, why, again, your why, and just keeping that close to home, and just it's just so important. And I just really wanted to emphasize that point, and it's something that I definitely learned quickly, that I just wanted to point out. And someone, I remember there was an event that we did with the organization I'm part of, Advocacy Day, and I remember one of the leaders that were speaking that day bringing this up and really emphasizing, just sometimes, taking it back and, having that space. So yeah, and I really appreciate the space. I know we're like, wrapping up now. It's been really great to be a part of this group, and I look forward to a lot of the project that we're working on, and just so many of the great things that we'll be able to do. So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this space, and so many others. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I am so bad sometimes. So I'm actually finding a code. It feels like I'm finding a code, so my brain's all over the place. And Jeanette asked us, how do we sign up or RSVP? We will send you a Google form, each of those sessions. So for the program leaders, we'll send you a Google form for that, and we'll ask questions like where you're at, what are some topics you want to focus on, and we will navigate to make sure that you're in the right groups. We'll have those breakout groups. Same thing with project consulting, we'll do that as well. Here's a funny thing, because sometimes we be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't sign up or not, right? If only one person signs up, you get one-on-one sessions with me. Actually, 2-on-1, because Donna will be there. All right, and so that's kind of, hopefully that's enticing enough for some people to show up. But my hope is that we all show up and be able to participate, contribute this way. And then I saw Ken earlier raise his hand, but I wasn't sure if he wanted to say something. I want to make sure I acknowledge that. Nope. Or did we just lost? Okay, maybe not. So you can contact Pivotal Moments, whether it's me or Donna, through Ching and through Civic Leadership Academy. I hope this experience was able to help you solidify and focus a little bit more on what you could accomplish and what you can do. And I hope that this is also the seed that we all can plant to build a greater community. With that said, oh, you can unmute yourself. I could unmute you. Do you want to chat still? I just got to see your video so I can find you.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I know we are running out of but I just want to re-emphasize what Summer just said. I mean, this is my first session in the Oregon legislature. And one thing that me and my boss, who is also the first and the only immigrant refugee senator in Oregon legislature, learned is that the process was never created for us to make change, or it take a lot of time and effort to change the process, the system that was created for so long. But it doesn't mean that we stop trying, right? So I think that now, if you get the opportunity to intern in a legislature, just understand that the process is gonna take a lot of time, but just you will be tired, you be like, disappointed, or you will be like thrown at like a lot of like disappointment from people, but just go back to your why, know that you have a community that support you, and just keep trying, and maybe like lay a foundation and for the long term. So just keep trying, and just very proud of everyone, and thank you for the space.
Sweet, thank you, Ken. Well, I'm gonna correct Ken a little bit. We're not running out of time. We are actually on time, and we're gonna actually end early. And so that's, I don't know, that's testament of like good program planning, but I do want to thank the team for being part of the program planning. Thank you all for being here. You are wonderful. You have the dates here already. And if there are questions, so we stay on for a little bit, ask questions. Thank you all so much. You're all awesome. You all are awesome. Take care. Have a great rest of the Saturday.
Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone. Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top of the brown. Ding dong, call me on my phone, nice tea and I'll get my ping pong.